If the Utah Utes wants to reach their full potential in 2025, they have to start utilizing one of their key players more.
You are Locked On Utes, your daily podcast on the Utah Utes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for making Locked On Utes your first listen and view of the day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. If it's your first time joining our show, make sure you like and subscribe. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College, all caps, no spaces, for $20 off your first purchase. My name is J.J. Wistricll, excited to be joined by a writer at Ute Zone today. It's Dawson Janes stopping by to talk about, eventually, the tight ends. We're also going to talk about the fact that Kyle Whittingham is now the longest tenured head coach in the Big 12. But Dawson, I want to start with something that I do believe might be one of the biggest missteps that Utah has made so far this season. And I know they lost to Tech and everything, but in some ways this might even tie into that. They are so underutilizing one of their best players to me. I'm talking about Wayshawn Parker. Wayshawn Parker to me has a chance to be a star Big 12 back. And I know Naquire Rogers does some good things. We can go through some of the stats in a moment here, Dawson, but I think if Utah wants to reach their ceiling, they need to give 60 to 75% of the carries to Wayshawn Parker and let him be as special as I think he can be.
First of all, JT, thanks for having me back on. It's great to be back. Yeah, absolutely. Wayshawn needs more snaps. The stats that I've written down, he has 42 carries to Nakari's 59.
Yeah.
And he has 30 more yards being underutilized in snap counts or carries. I mean, and when he's on the field, it's been spectacular. He's a force. He can catch the ball. We saw Saturday with a crazy catch in the end zone, keeping his feet in. That's a point too. He can block, he can catch, he can run, of course. And yeah, I absolutely agree. He needs more carries. And once they do that, then I think the run game's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, and it's been really good, but it can be better. This is a team that has a higher ceiling to reach, and I really believe the key is the sophomore back, Wayshawn Parker. When you look at Utah's statistics on the season, Wayshawn Parker is Utah's leading rusher. But as you mentioned, Dawson, I think a lot of people don't realize how many fewer carries he has than the other guys. He has 280 yards rushing on only 42 carries. Dampier has had 55 carries this season for 258 yards. You have Naquire Rogers, who's had 59 carries for 250 yards. So how is he averaging more yards despite getting less than 10 carries at least, if not more, than both those guys? 6.7 yards per carry. That's a top 45 number in the country among some of the top backs, and even a quarterback or two in there too. But he has been so dynamic with the ball in his hands, the explosiveness. He's just clearly a more explosive player than Naquire Rogers. I am not saying abandon Naquire Rogers. He's a bad running back. I am not saying that. I think Naquire Rogers is one of the best number 2 backs you can have in the Big 12. But the truth is, he's not an explosive player. And Wayshawn, we've seen it whether in the pass game, as you mentioned, or hitting some of those big runs. He had the 40-yard run last week. He has that extra gear. He has that home run ability. And this offense, I think they need a little bit more of that because the explosive pass game has not been there. If they can unlock some more explosive runs, that can take this offense to another level when they do start to see some of the better defenses in the Big 12.
Yeah, it's tough to execute a RB1, AB like Whittingham likes to do. And yeah, absolutely. Wayshawn is shifty. He's elusive. You can go back to the Cal Poly game where he had that huge run on the left side. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Nakari, he finds the edge. He gets through holes as well. But Wayshawn, you just can't beat the elusiveness and the speed. And he has it all, in my opinion.
He does. And I'm trying, like, once again, I'm not trying to be an Naquire Rogers hater, but when I think of all the plays that the best running back type plays on the season, almost all the ones that jump in my head are Wayshawn Parker related, whether it's even less like the first play of the season where they motion Wayshawn out against UCLA and he's throwing a big block for Smith Snowden on a wide receiver screen. Obviously the pass this last weekend was incredible, tiptoeing the sideline like he did, where they thought at first he might have been out of bounds. And then the emotion and the passion, so fired up, you saw it on his face once he realized that he did get in for the end zone. But that ability to be a pass catcher, he can be an effective blocker too. Mention those big runs that he's had on this season too. You know, if we look at Naquire Rogers on the season, you look at his longest runs each game, his longest on the season is only 23 yards. If you look at Wayshawn Parker, he has 2 different games in which he had 40-yard runs, right? He had the one, and that's not even including the long catch against Cal Poly he had. We just mentioned the other touchdown catch, but he has 3 games on the season in which his longest run has gone for more than 20 yards. That's impressive, and that's something too you can have. Wayshawn is a 3-down type back. The shiftiness, I feel like he can break a couple more tackles too. Naquari Rogers, if it's 4th and 1, yeah, probably give it to Naquari Rogers. Probably a little bit stronger, and maybe he has, like Dawson, I'm trying to figure out why doesn't Wayshawn get more carries. He's fumbled a little bit more. That's the one thing. Maybe Naquari has slightly better vision, but Wayshawn to me is more talented. He's more elusive. And look, either guy's going to eat behind this offensive line, but I do believe that Wayshawn will be just a little bit better. But at the end of the day, Dawson, a lot of this does come down to the Utah offensive line success. What have you thought of their play so far this year?
Oh, they've been ridiculous. Despite, I guess the Texas Tech game, they didn't get as much push, but literally every single game, they've absolutely dominated the D line. They've gotten the push. They've opened holes for these running backs, and I think it all comes down to the draft prospects. Lomu and Fano, of course. I think just following in their lead is what these running backs need to do, and they have done. And Dame Pierre, of course, has all the time in the world back there. It is ridiculous. It's hard to think of another line that's done this in Utah's past. But yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch this offensive line work. I think about the touchdown to Ryan Davis, the long one this last game. Dampier is not exactly a guy who's going to sit down, go through all his progressions, and dice you up normally. But he had so much time on that throw. He literally, I'm trying to remember if he was the 3rd or 4th read, the receiver Davis was, because literally that's how much time he had to be able to go through. It's such a luxury when you have this protection. And look, sometimes I think we hold on to preseason, predictions and accolades too much. For example, I don't know. Texas has not looked like a top 10 college football team to me this year, yet they continue to stay in the top 10. That's where the preseason stuff, I wish we could throw it out sooner. But there are certain preseason things that come true. One of those being Utah and Texas Tech have really good talent in the trenches. To me, so far, everything we've seen on the years has confirmed that. The reason Tech has blown everyone out in part is because that's one of the best D lines in college football. To me, Tech is a top 10 team in the country. Teams don't go into Rice-Eccles Stadium and do what they did to Utah unless they're pretty special. So that's what leads me to think like, hey, Romello Height, David Bailey, Lee Hunter, like that is a group up front. And then we've seen Utah's offensive line dominate everyone else. So to me, when I look back on that Tech game, to me, it's not just, oh, Tech's good, Utah's bad. It's no, Tech is in another class. Like that D line is one of the best in the country. Utah's offensive line is also really dang good because Dawson, yeah, Utah hasn't played the best competition, but they've blown them all out in large part because this offensive line has been dominating the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, absolutely. And West Virginia is a tough place to play as well. And
Yeah.
they absolutely crushed them. They looked comfortable. They looked like they were at home. And we could even go back to Dave Pierce's time at New Mexico. That's why he probably had so many interceptions, so many turnovers. He didn't have the time in the pocket. People were getting through the gaps like that. And we're going to talk about the tight ends, like you said, soon. But that throw to Bentley on Saturday, Dame Pierre had all the time in the world. Bentley's wide open. So it's for anyone. If you have that many time or have that much time, you're gonna be successful.
Yeah, really quick on that. You're making a great point. Dampier threw 12 picks last year. We're 5 games into the season, so we're almost halfway, which is terrifying, by the way. Like, I don't want Utah football to go anywhere anytime soon. We're almost halfway. We have to go without it this week. But to me, he's only he's only forced interceptions like 3 times this year. All of his interceptions have been bad passes he's forced down there. And the fact that he's only had 3 this far into the season, I think is an encouraging sign. I said going into the season, I felt like he would have under 10. He's absolutely on pace for that. He just has some good defenses left to play. He's already faced the best one, even if BYU has a pretty good one too. But liking what Devin Dampier is doing, I'm liking what this offense is doing. And one of the most pleasant surprises on this offense has been the tight end play so far. We're going to talk about how the Utah tight end room in 2025 is invoking shades of the great tight ends we've seen in Salt Lake City in the past in one moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our friends at Q. One of the tools that makes a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, but just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. With every customer conversation count, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through the app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying 2 phones or relying on a landlord. I mean, their built-in AI agent is a game changer. It can be easy to answer after-hour calls, capture leads, and keep businesses moving even when you're off the clock. See why over 90,000 businesses, that's right, 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started free with 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's quo.com/lockedonnhlcollege. And if you've got an existing number with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers with Quo today. Coming into this season, I did not think the Utah tight end room was going to accomplish much. Tight ends last year with Jason Beck's offense did not do much. You know who also didn't do much last year? Tight ends not named Brant Keithy. And I know Brant Keithy got hurt, but Utah tight ends just didn't do much a season ago. And I looked at this group coming into the season and I'm like, gosh, you're moving Otto Tia over there. So maybe could he be something? But I always felt like he would be more of a receiver. Sure enough, he's barely been utilized so far too. But then you're moving Lander Barton there. Oh, that reeks of desperation. You're trying to sell me on some true freshman J.J. Buchanan. You've shifted Hunter Andrews over there, which Hunter Andrews really hope for a quick and speedy recovery for him. Hate that he's out because he was doing some nice things for this team too. But you're moving Hunter Andrews there. He was a running back, linebacker. He's played all over the place. And then Dallen Bentley's there. Dallen Bentley, who had Dawson. I think most people forget this. Dallen Bentley last season had 25 receiving yards. Or excuse me, 2 catches for 15 receiving yards last year. That's what Dallen Bentley did. Dallen Bentley obliterated that in the first game of the year. We'll talk about some of the other tight ends in a moment, but really Bentley, no Utah player has surprised me more to start this year than Dallen Bentley, and I have never been more excited to be wrong, Dawson.
Yeah, he's adjusted completely well. We talked to him, but I think it was a few weeks ago on a scrum, and he said he has adjusted like perfectly to this offense. And like you said, no clue these tight ends would be utilized in this offense like this. I think Beck's done a great job though in executing the plays. Bentley, he's a blocking tight end. He's still doing that. He's chipping. He's getting open as well, though. And then Buchanan, like we didn't even know he was going to be a tight end, and he's looked great as well. And if we want to get into the stats, Bentley has in his last game, or it's not the last game, against Texas Tech, he had 6 receptions for 75 yards.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, he had that touchdown where he was wide open. And then Buchanan as well. He's making
his touchdown was crazy.
Yes, they're both making Beck and Witt look good in this offense, and yeah, I love watching it.
I give a lot of credit for this. I'll go back to in the transfer portal era. It feels so much about who can we bring in right now to be an impact guy. Utah a couple years ago added this tight end out of Snow College. And I was like, it's okay. I mean, at the time, Utah still had Brant Keithy coming back. There was a Landon King from Auburn that we were all more excited about. There's a lot of other guys in that room. And, sure enough, and he came over from the JUCO ranks. What is he going to do? 23 his first year, 1 reception for 5 yards. His second year, he had 24. He had 2 receptions for 15 yards. So I was supposed to be all excited. And Utah never really, there just wasn't much out there about Dallen Bentley because we're talking about a guy who had 3 catches for 20 yards through 2 years of collegiate action. Fast forward to 2025. He has 22 receptions for 246 yards, 11 yards per catch, 3 touchdowns. You mentioned the game against Tech. He had Utah's only explosive play on offense. And that other one, Spencer Fano, was unfortunately blocking downfield. I'm over it. I'm sorry to bring it up. It's still infuriating.
Again.
Exactly. But Bentley has been a guy who's been so reliable. Even the first game against UCLA, just watching him, I'm like, who is this? This is not Dallen Bentley. This is like some other tight end in Dallen Bentley's body, because that does not look like the player I'd seen in the past. He's just so much. He's a better route runner. He's strength. He can catch these contested balls over the middle. The route running is better too. He just looks the part too. We mentioned the strength also. Dawson, he's all around one. I feel like he's been one of the best tight ends in the Big 12 this season, and he's a legit weapon for Utah. And he snuck up on all of us, which, going back to how I started this point, is a credit to the player development that Utah had. This guy's been in the system for years. And the fact that it wasn't Andy Ludwig he was reaping the benefits with, but now the new offensive coordinator, Jason Beck, is a true testament to Utah, Fred Whittingham Jr., and this entire group for never giving up on him, and the player as well for buying in and working his butt off.
Yeah, Bentley literally looks like he's wide open every time. He's finding space as well. And Dame Pure, when you have a guy wide open, you're going to be comfortable to toss it over to him. And not to mention his speed as well. He looks good. He looks shifty. It's been a completely different player than the Snow College Badger. Go Badgers. But
Go.
yeah, it's been awesome to see, and I'm really happy for him.
I'm happy for him too. Another guy I am so excited for, and someone else I'm so excited I was wrong about coming this year. J.J. Buchanan. Like J.J. Buchanan, the true freshman. He was a dual threat receiver and safety. And I liked him at safety a little bit more based on the high school tape. I just
Mhm.
did not think we'd see, maybe special teams is the only place I thought we'd see him because of how hard he plays. We heard he'd really bought in him and doing everything he could to transform himself and get ready for the season. We heard a little bit of buzz about him, but we know Kyle Whittingham will also, he doesn't give out praise freely, but sometimes it's like, okay, like, is this an example of you trying to throw us off the scent of something because you're so tight with information and you don't want anything to ever get out? Like, is this guy really a dude? He is. J.J.
Mhm.
Buchanan, for a true freshman. And I'm trying not to let what happened with Isaac Wilson last year burn me, where true freshmen can't be productive in college football. It's one of those things after last year. It's hard not to feel that way. 9 catches for 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8.7 yards per catch. The touchdown against West Virginia. I mean, we're recording this at the time Monday Night Football is going on. I wonder if Randy Moss was talking about him on You Got Moss, because he just went up and got it. And they went to him with a fade and another key third down too. And he just
Mhm.
goes up top and grabs it. But the ability as a fresh, we talked about how long it took Dallen Bentley to get up to the level of being a game-changing tight end for Utah. The fact that J.J. Buchanan already right now, when he could still add and put on some more strength to, is already going up top, winning one-on-one, able to break some tackles and make plays downfield, and just looks like, we have so many, we're still waiting on Larry Simmons and Tobias Merriweather to get going. The fact that J.J. Buchanan has been one of the guys who get going is all the credit in the world to him for buying in and doing what he's done. And he's been a blast to watch, Dawson.
Yeah, and he looks so freaking relaxed
Mm-hmm.
as well. I couldn't imagine being a true freshman out there, but
Yeah.
I think the coaching staff has done a great job getting to this point. Like you said, the player development is great. It's his first year, and he's already starting to look like some tight ends of the past, and he's already right on the heels of Bentley as well. So I'm really excited for his future. And like you said, he has so much like room for growth as well, like physically. He's still like a skinny little Frenchman, so that muscle will come for sure, and once it does, I think he'll be elite, and he's already pretty close. He's been great.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'4", 208. If he could get up to like even 220, two twenty
Mhm,
five by next year, I think you were talking about maybe one of the best bit right now. Next year, let's go right now. He's a really good freshman tight end. Next year, maybe one of the best tight ends in the Big 12. By the time he's a junior, like he's the type of guy with potential with how he's playing as a freshman. He could be one of the best big tight ends in college football, which is just a testament to him. And I never thought we'd be saying anything about that at this Utah tight end room, but they've been a blast. And especially Dawson, Utah's needed this group to do well because obviously there's been struggles with the wide receivers on the outside.
mhm.
I don't want Utah to give up on their wide receivers. They're Tobias Merriweather, Devin Dampier. They've been too close too many times connecting on a big play for me to say I'm done. And Larry Simmons is still a really nice route runner. I think he can do things for these teams. I'm not giving up on that group yet. Are you?
I'm not, and, we've seen the production from him. Ryan
Mhm.
Davis looks so good.
Really good.
He's looked awesome, and Dane Pierre has that connection with him from New Mexico, and like you said, these tiny little overthrows to Merriweather are so close. There's gotta be a game he's gonna break out and show what he was brought in for. And then, like you said, Simmons as well. There's so many other guys that can make a huge impact. They just gotta find a game where they can just click. It's so close.
They are so close. And what I didn't think we'd be doing is talking about this collections of wide receivers trying to get clicking under Kyle Whittingham. Yes, there's always been wide receiver issues under Kyle Whittingham, but the fact of the matter is,
Mhm,
I didn't expect Kyle Whittingham to be here. And Kyle Whittingham, honestly, if you look at what's happened with some of the other coaches in college football, Keely, Mike Gundy getting fired, the odds probably weren't great for Kyle Whittingham being here just because of the trend of most older college football coaches have not been able to adapt in this new era. There's been some things with Witt, knock, knock, the whole injury report saga that continues to go on with
yeah.
Utah, but he's done well. How has he been able to outlast some of his peers, the Mike Gundy, some of these other guys? We're going to tell you in one moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our great friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bonus bets if yours wins. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It truly makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience even more exciting. And yes, no Utah this weekend, but still tons of great games in college football. Alabama, Vandy. I mean, I still can't believe Vandy's involved in a game day game, but they've been that good. And there's tons of other great college football games. The NFL always delivers too. Let's not forget, we got the NBA season around the corner, NHL, and of course, speaking of around the corner, baseball playoffs just about to get underway. FanDuel is your place to go to get in on all of the action. You can head over to FanDuel today. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel Sportsbook. Get in on the action today. I was someone who did not think Kyle Whittingham would be coaching in 2025. I thought last year was going to be his last year. It's actually been documented it was supposed to be, but he didn't like the way it went. He got that fire back. And Dawson, when I watch him on the sideline, that fire still burns bright too. Like he is still locked in. I give him so much credit for being able to adapt and adjust to the current landscape of college football. Was last year great? Yeah, he struggled with his quarterback development. But even in a bad year, a down year, it never got as bad as what happened with Oklahoma State last year, where they didn't win a single game in Big 12 play. You people love to clown Utah because they only won 2 Big 12 games. They really run 3 because they beat Baylor also, but no one ever brings that one up. But a down year, you still won 3 conference games, and he's retooled Utah where they're back right away. If Utah was where Oklahoma State was with Mike Gundy, right? Like they would have been the ones to go on the road and get blown out by West Virginia. It's still hard to win on the road in college football, but Utah does what they do, even against bad teams. They blow them out and they remain so consistent. And I think Kyle Whittingham's willingness to say, hey, I'll embrace the transfer portal a little bit more. He's talked about going a little softer. Today's athletes are different. You have to handle them differently. And I think Whitt has done a good job adapting and adjusting. And because he's done that, Dawson, he doesn't have to go through what Mike Gundy's currently going through right now, that being he's unemployed.
Yeah, that's just who Whitt is. He's gonna find a way no matter what, and that's what he's always done. He's been the coach since I was freaking born. It's crazy. But yeah, over 170 career wins. He's just a great mentor. He's a great person. I've had the opportunity to talk to him a little bit. Actually, I asked my first question at the scrum against Texas Tech to him. So that was huge. And then I think he sets the expectations for other coaches in the Big 12 now. I mean, he's the guy to look up to now that Gundy's gone. And he's just great. And of course, Scally has been waiting, but I just want to live up whatever time we have left of Whitt. So
yeah, we're waiting on eventually there'll be a statue out there for him, but I just think it's so cool. He's still going and he is still contending. I talked about this on yesterday's show. Like if you want to say, hey, I want to see Utah beat a Big 12 contender before I call them a contender, I'm fine with that, man. But they've just done, when you're a good team, you should go out and blow out bad teams. That's how I see it. Utah's avoided what's happened with Kansas, where they lose to a Cincinnati. And maybe Cincinnati's a little better than I thought, but if Kansas is a contender, I feel like they should win that game, right? I look at a Houston, like yes, Houston's 4-0, but they barely squeaked by a very bad Oregon State team, which Texas Tech did clobber. And we're really being honest about how close that Utah-Texas Tech game was. It was a 10-3. It was a 10-3 game for the majority of it. And even the one touchdown Tech scored, right? They hit that one big play. Like Utah played Tech right there. Utah is still a contending team. You know who's not a contending team? And even if they were in the Big 12, I don't think they would be. It's Iowa. Like Kirk Ferentz is the longest tenured coach in the sport. The Cyclones have kind of fallen to the wayside. No one considers them a Big 10 contender. Oklahoma State had fallen away from being a contender. Kyle Whittingham has kept Utah as a contender, and his blend of you will become us, we won't become you, as well as adapting and adjusting has been impressive too. And, he's talked about potentially retiring with Morgan Scalley being the head coach and waiting, but if he wasn't talking about that, and yes, a little bit of a down year last year, but Dawson, he feels like he could still go a little bit longer. We don't know how long he wants to go, but in a lot of ways, he hasn't shown signs of slowing down, right?
no, I don't think so. And even though it was a down year, I don't think he's gonna stop after that. That's just not who he is. I think he's gonna going until the wheels fall off, to be honest. I think he wants to get a big win before he goes out, and I think this is the year for that. So
I think it is too. And when I think about Whitt
Mhm.
too, the only thing, as I said, the real blemish is he has mismanaged the injuries and the
Yeah.
quarterback situation. And like last year, what happened is on Andy Ludwig, Kyle Whittingham, all of them. You did not have a good enough backup quarterback option. You should have been able to win some games. Just because Bryson Barnes transferred to Cam Rising doesn't mean the season should have gone completely down the drain. But outside of that, there's really not much criticism we can offer Kyle Whittingham, because even like the year before that, you don't have Cam for all of it, and you still win 8 games, which was incredible and tremendous
Mhm.
what this Utah team was able to do. We're in the middle of the bye week. Let's do a quick story time. Dawson, I asked Kyle Whittingham a question for the first time ever. You and I both have this in common. We went to Utah, right? So I'll tell
Mhm.
mine in a second, but I don't know for you, what was going through your head the first time you're going to ask this legendary coach a question, and what question did you ask Kyle?
It's been freaking eating at me. I didn't get the opportunity to ask him a question at the Rose Bowl and to
Mhm.
UCLA, and then Cal Poly as well. As one question away, and then they ended it. So it's been eating at me. But yeah, once I got down there, I think the nerves went away, and it was kind of just talking ball, to be honest, even though it's the legendary coach up there. And I asked him about Nate Ritchie's performance during the game, the 13 tackles, and who the type of player he is. And he gave me a great answer. And of course, it went on my story. It was awesome.
That's awesome, man. And it is so cool when you finally get the chance to talk to someone like Whitt. I'm trying to remember a Whitt story. I have another press conference story I'll share in a moment, but I remember too those moments when you're sitting in those press conferences, like especially you get to know some of these journalists. And for me, I was a student intern in the athletic department. So even the people around passing the mics around, like I used to work for them.
Mhm.
So I was totally nervous the first time I was going to ask my questions, like to Coach Whitt. Like, some people call him Kyle. I called him Coach because it's like, that's just how I think of him
Me
as. I
too.
remember a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's just, that's what he is.
Yeah.
I remember the first press conference question I ever asked though was it was the players come out first. So I was going to ask this to Cam Rising and Dalton Kincaid. And I remember my heart was beating out of my chest before I asked this. And I asked Dalton because it was against Weber State, I want to say, or maybe it was someone else before, but Dalton went with a hurdle. And I just remember like I asked him the question and he got a big smile and Cam did, and everyone ended up laughing about it. But it was funny because I just still remember like my heart beating out of my
That's
chest, being so
awesome.
nervous. But
Huh.
it's just always cool to, number one, like you and I have both gotten to pursue this career, which is something that's been incredible too. But just overcoming the anxiety in that moment as well too, of being like, and you look back and you're like, gosh, I'm so glad I asked the question, even though it can be scary knowing you're going to put yourself out there. But that's awesome, man. That's something I can relate to too.
Absolutely.
You don't
Thank you.
forget your first question, right?
No, absolutely not. And then once you do, it's like, what was all that worrying for?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's crazy how that works.
Oh, it is totally crazy. Like the question I asked
Yeah.
you, I remember they made like a reel out of it, an edit out of it, like Dalton laughing about the question on
Really?
the hurdle. So like I still remember that, like that question. I was so nervous to ask and almost didn't ask. I did, and then they ended up making a clip out of it too. So hey, I don't
It's
know if
even better.
whoever listened to 27 minutes, like ask the question, take the lead. That's that's
Yeah,
the advice we could give you on this bye week edition of Locked On Utes. Dawson, such a
absolutely.
blast talking ball with you, man. Please let everyone know where they can find you
Absolutely,
at.
man. Yeah, my X is on the screen, James Dawson 27, and then all my work is on Ute Zone. I'm a staff writer there, so check it out.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, Dawson.
Thank you, JT.
That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Utes. Thank you guys for making us your first listen and view of the day. If you're in the market for a second listen, we got the thing for you because Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Hawley, and Locked On's local expert. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That'll do it for our show today. We'll be back tomorrow talking the latest in Utah athletics.